Thank you for joining us for your parkerweather.info daily weather synopsis for September 30th, 2010. Well, we're just going to jump right in it. Go ahead and look at our 5-day QPF, our quantitative precipitation forecasting issued by the National Weather Service that shows heavy rainfall along portions of New England, and it looks like a maximum of 6.6 inches just west of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania and northern Maryland. So heavy rainfall along the entire East Coast, and part of that is due to what was Tropical Storm Nicole. Now it's no longer named anymore, but it's still producing heavy rainfall in the Carolinas, and that's going to continue to move north and do the same for Virginia, Maryland, West Virginia, and that entire region. And this is an area that's been hit kind of hard. So if we look at our visible imagery with our overlay of surface pressure, 1,000 millibars is basically the area around Nicole, so the centralized low pressure, and then that's going to continue to move north, and the pressure fields are going to most likely increase because that storm isn't going to get any stronger once it begins to move over land. So here's what the radar looked like yesterday, and we showed you this, or excuse me, 2 days ago. Showed you this. Georgia was southern portions of Georgia. We're getting large amounts of rain off the eastern coast of Florida. Was Tropical Storm Nicole bringing a lot of rain to that area? And then notice the broad area of rain in North Carolina, parts of Southern Virginia, and South Carolina. Well, all of that has obviously shifted to the north, and it's basically affecting now New England, and they're seeing heavy flooding in that entire area. Expect Nicole to move north and pretty much do what this storm did yesterday to South Carolina and North Carolina and eventually New England. So here is what we're currently looking at in the southeast. Some, isolated showers across Georgia and South Carolina. Not much else going on in the southeast, but if you look off the North Carolina coast and into inland parts of North Carolina, Nicole is beginning to douse that entire area, and it's only going to get worse over the next couple of hours for people in that area. So currently, right now, here are where our observed river gauges are. All the greens mean the river gauges are good to go. There's no flooding. Reds mean there's in their moderate flood stage, purple in their major flood stage. So look at portions of North Dakota have a couple majors, a couple moderates in parts of southern Minnesota, northern Iowa. But look what they're forecasted to do as we go into today. They're going to get even worse in the Midwest, but look at the West Coast. That entire area that was all green before, there are a lot of purples in there, a lot of red, so there's going to be massive flooding in some of the most populated areas along the eastern coast, thanks to all this rain they've been getting over the last couple of days. And along with this, there are going to be a lot of flight delays. It is going to be bedlam in the Northeast. Philadelphia, Trenton, JFK, LaGuardia, Boston International is going to see heavy delays as we go into this evening, and then as Nicole stretches more north, we could see a repeat of what we're seeing this evening. So basically, here are the major and moderate flood stage regions of Pennsylvania, into New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maryland. We're going to focus in on a small portion, though. Reading or Reading, not sure how they want to pronounce it up there, Lancaster and Chadds Ford are three places that are expected to see serious flooding as we go into today. So here is Reading, again, Reading, at the, not even going to try to pronounce it, Schuylkill River. The major flood stage is 18 feet, and it's expected to jump up to 19 feet by Friday at 7 p.m. as that rain really begins to flood the entire area. And then in Lancaster on the Conestoga River, again, they're going to get into the major flood, 16 and a half, and a lot of rivers, 16 and a half, really isn't that much, but when you get these shallow riverbeds and you have a flood stage of 11 feet, 16.2 is a pretty large increase in your river levels. And then the Brandywine Creek at Chadds Ford, they're going to go about almost a foot over what their major flood stage is, and about 4 or 5 feet above what their normal flood stage is. So a lot of flooding in portions of Pennsylvania. If you look off in New Hampshire, the same goes for Plymouth and Rumney, and then Frederick and Sherrill Drive in D.C. Also a lot of flooding in that entire area. And again, this is what they're seeing now, and it's only expected to get worse over the next couple of days as New York's getting hammered, so are portions of northern Pennsylvania. And then Nicole's going to slide north, and we're going to basically see the radar we see now. We'll see that into tomorrow as well. So let's look at some other tropical stuff outside of Nicole, because she's pretty much considered not even tropical anymore. A pretty broad area off northeast of Venezuela. Just sort of a lot of disorganized convection, but it's still pretty impressive, and we could see development over the next couple of days. And then a very small portion south of Cuba. Even though it's a large area, it has a small percentage of actually turning into anything. So here is an AVN loop of the entire southern Atlantic basin into the Caribbean. You can see that area of convective storms northeast of Venezuela, north of French Guiana, and then south of Cuba, still a pretty heavy area of rain, sort of just sitting there, not doing much moving. So we're going to keep our eye on that and see what that does over the next couple of hours. So basically 84 hours from now, this is the CMC model. It's thinking that that area northeast of Venezuela is going to develop into something and start to head towards Puerto Rico, start to head towards Cuba. Now, this is the GFS at the exact same time period, and it has the exact same storm developing, but it already has it very close to Florida, north of Cuba. So there is somewhat of a disagreement. Then as we go into 144 hours, the CMC now has it north of Cuba, and then we go to the GFS, and it basically doesn't have any storm left that we can see, thanks to that high pressure that is centered over the northern Ohio Valley, and it's just going to push anything that tries to come to us off out into the Atlantic. So a cold front is going to slide through the southeast, and yes, that's going to bring a lot of rain to the northeast, but it's going to bring very cool temperatures to the majority of the eastern seaboard. Cold weather is definitely going to be coming to the south, as you see that cold pool in northern Canada is going to begin to start to drain into the Great Lakes region and then into the Ohio Valley, into Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. And then thanks to this trough that's going to dig into the southeast a little bit, it's sort of going to open the floodgates for much cooler temperatures into the southeast. And you know what? That Atlanta low on Monday is going to be 42 degrees. That's unbelievable for this time of year. Very, very cold temperatures. So we're going to keep an eye on a lot of the stuff going on in the Northeast, and we'll update again tomorrow. But be sure to log on to parkerweather.info for any weather links and stuff like that, and then parkerweather.blogspot.com for your latest synopses and write-ups on things going on in the weather world. Appreciate you logging in, and we'll see you soon.